All right, good morning. Here's part 2 of our video for week 4. I'm gonna go over an analysis for Hills Like White Elephants by Ernest Hemingway. This guy right here, okay. Ernest Hemingway, famous American author. He's an expat. He served in World War II and then left America for a long time, went to France. He went to Cuba. He was the only American ever welcomed by Fidel Castro into Cuba. He could go from America to Cuba and back and forth. Pretty much the only person who could ever do that. He was, if you watched Mad Men, Don Draper could have easily have been Ernest Hemingway. If Ernest Hemingway had not taken to being a fiction writer and instead became an advertising man, he would have been Don Draper. He was very much like Don if you watched Mad Men, which is a great show. All right, Hemingway is at times misogynistic, but then other times it seems like he really understands women really well. He's one of those strange anomalies of a man, very manly man, yet also sensitive, but then also an alcoholic, you know? So, it could be very violent. Very interesting guy. All right, we're gonna read 2 of his stories this week and next week. Hills Like White Elephants, which is the first one, and The Sea Change, which will come next week. The great thing about this story right here, Hills Like White Elephants, is it's about 90% dialogue. All right, you really got to pay attention to it. And there's very little use of adjectives, all right, and descriptions. So much of what we have to figure out with this in this story, we have to infer. We have to use inductive logic to figure it out. All right, but he leaves us a lot of clues. There's a lot of clues. Inductive logic. This is when you use clues to figure out meaning. All right, and I love mysteries and crime stories and books. Okay, right now I am reading Mindhunter for my own personal enjoyment. We watched the Netflix show, and then my wife bought this for me for Christmas, and it's written by a real FBI agent, and it is so freaking interesting. But he talks a lot about using clues within the crime scene to understand what happened. All right, so let's do this, because I'm going to have some of my students starting to arrive in 40 minutes, and it'd be nice to get this thing done before then. But I'm a long talker, very long-winded. All right, I used to teach these 3-hour Saturday courses, and even the 3-hour courses didn't ever seem long enough. Okay, all right, let's do this. Hills Like White Elephants. The hills across the valley of the Ebro were long and white. On this side there was no shade and no trees, and the station was between 2 lines of rails in the sun. Close against the side of the station there was a warm shadow of the building and a curtain made of strings of bamboo beads hung across the open door into the bar to keep out flies. The American and the girl with him sat at a table in the shade outside the building. It was very hot, and the express from Barcelona would come in 40 minutes. It stopped at this junction for 2 minutes and went on to Madrid. All right, so right now we have tons of information given to us already. All right, the hills across the valley of the Ebro. So we have these hills. All right. All right. And then we have a valley. All right. I don't know what you do draw a valley. All right. And then we have train tracks. And then we have the train station. Station. Bar. Yeah. Train tracks. Okay. Everything in a short story is on purpose. Okay. All right. So we have, look, setting is important. Setting tells us here the story. The setting is a train station. And we have tracks that go in opposite direction. This is a story about choices. What choices are going to be made in this story? Okay? So important things that will come back again. Bamboo beads. Bamboo beads. We'll come back to this, but this is not just a small little reference to some sort of decoration. It'll come back. And then we have the American and the girl. Because this takes place in Spain, and we have a designation that there's an American, and then we have a designation, then we have no designation. We're gonna interpret that as in this girl is native. She is Spanish. All right. The American is, well, he's a foreigner. All right. He's a foreigner. He doesn't belong. All right. We have a native and we have someone who doesn't belong, a stranger in a strange land. All right. And strangers, sorry, should always be looked at as suspicious. Okay. All right. So we have these things. What should we drink? The girl asked. She had taken off her hat and put it on the table. All right. So drinking. They're just sitting at the bar. This whole story takes place at the bar while they're drinking. Okay. It's pretty hot, the man said. Well, let's drink beer. He orders some beer. Big ones. Yep. Let's get some big ones. All right. The beer is brought. I'm going to return to our little picture in a little bit. So the girl is looking at these hills. She's staring at the hills. These hills. These are the hills. Look at those beautiful hills. Man, I should have been an art major. All right. She is focused on those hills. She says they look like white elephants. Now, a white elephant. Let's think about this. Okay. A white elephant is something rare in nature. Okay, it's rare in nature, and it's something that we can see as there's an old story from India about a white elephant, and that it was something that if you saw it, it was like seeing a sign from God. Okay, it was special. All right, it was special. But then we have an American, more contemporary interpretation of the white elephant. And the white elephant, especially in relation to a white elephant present, all right, is either something that is unknown or unwanted. All right. For some people, the white elephant is a specialty, something special and unique because it's rare in nature. And for others, when they see a white elephant, it symbolizes something unwanted or unknown, unfamiliar, and like as I said before, mysterious, which could be cause one for hesitation. All right. So she says they look like white elephants, she said. And he says, I've never seen one. The man drank his beer. No, you wouldn't have. Okay. We don't have a description of how she said this, right? But she says this spitefully, all right? This story is about a hard decision. A hard decision that he is wanting her to make. She does not want to make or choose make the choice that he wants her to have, which we'll get to in a moment, all right? And so she is saying that when she's looking at these hills, she sees something special. He is saying, I've never seen anything special. And she says, no, you wouldn't have. Of course you don't see anything special, all right? This is our first sort of example of her feeling resentful, all right? So spitefully or resentful towards him. And he gets defensive. Well, I might have, he says. Just because you say I wouldn't have doesn't prove anything. And the girl looked at the bead curtain again. We have another reference to the bead curtain. We'll get to this in a moment. They've painted something on it, she said. What does it say? And he reads out to her in A. Del Toro. Not that she doesn't know what this is, these words. She doesn't understand that that's a name for a drink. Could we try it? The man called, listen through the curtain. The woman came, all right. He orders them, and he asks, do you want it with water? She says, I don't know. All right, is it good with water? It's all right. All of this indicates that he is older. He's an adult, okay? More experienced. She is young. A young adult, all right? She's legal enough to drink, okay? Unexperienced. She's probably around 18. He's probably around 30, okay? She receives her drink. She receives her drink. She says, it tastes like licorice. Licorice. The girl said, and put the glass down. That's the way with everything. She is disappointed in her drink. She's disappointed in her drink. I'm sorry. And he says, well, that's the way with everything. And she says, yes, said the girl, everything tastes of licorice, especially all the things you waited so long for, like absinthe. All right, so once again, she is expressing her resentfulness. All right, she's young, and as young people see adults trying all these different things, trying all these adult beverages, and these kids think that it's going to taste like something else, like it's going to be really special. These adults seem to enjoy it so much. Like I remember thinking this way about beer and wine, seeing the adults at parties just enjoying beer and wine, and men sipping on liquor, and you just imagine, oh, this must be so great tasting. And then when you first try it, and your tongue is not used to it, you've not developed a palate for it, it's not what you thought. All right, it's not what she thought. All right, and so look, absinthe is it's now illegal to have. You can't have true absinthe, and it was very popular back in the day. All right, it was an alcoholic drink that caused hallucinations. See if I can spell hallucinations correctly. I'm a product of spell check. Hallucinations, okay, and then also it was an aphrodisiac. Aphrodisiac, which meaning aphrodisiac, okay, is that it got people in the mood. All right. So it's a sexualized drink. All right. So far, what all this is sort of representing is that, look, is that this idea that like drinks seem so special, but turns out they're not that special. Everything just tastes of licorice. It just, you waited so long to try something new, and then you realize it's not new. It's disappointing. So this represents adulthood. Adulthood. Her disappointment with these drinks and experience is her disappointment with adulthood. Adulthood is disappointing. It's not what she thought it was going to be like, which harkens back to Janine when Camus kept saying about Janine in the story of the adulterous woman. All right, it was that nothing was like how she thought it was going to be. All right, you had these grand ideas about life, about becoming an adult, and then you start to experience these things, and it's not that great. Okay, and so the man here is starting to get kind of annoyed with her. All right, and he doesn't really want to hear about her disappointments, all right, or hear about her ideas, all right. And so he just either wants her to be fun, or he wants her to be quiet, pretty much. All right. He keeps saying, well, let's try to have a fine time. All right. And she starts to get a little defensive, and she's like, I'm trying to be bright. He's like, I know you're bright. Okay. All right. And so, and she keeps going back to the hills. They're lovely hills. They're lovely hills. They don't really look like white elephants. I just meant the coloring of their skin. Should we have another drink? He says, all right. And so he is not amused by her mood. Okay? He doesn't really care. And that's the whole point. He doesn't care. So we get set up we get set up with, they're at this train station, they're drinking, he's older, she's younger, and she is expressing her disappointment with what she's learning now that she's becoming an adult. He does not really care to, hear this, all right? And so then we get to this. It's really an awfully simple operation, Jig. Simple operation. And this is the name. I don't believe this is really her name. This is a nickname that he gives her. Jig, okay? And I'm gonna return to that in a moment. It's really not an operation at all. The girl looked at the ground, table his legs rested on. I know you wouldn't mind a jig. It's really not anything. It's just to let the air in. In case you didn't read online about this, great if you didn't. All right, they're talking about an abortion here. The story is about abortion, and they are on a trip to decide. They're on a trip to get an abortion. All right. One way. So the choices to be made is keep baby or abortion. All right. Keep a baby or have an abortion. That is the operation, the simple operation that the man is trying to mansplain to her. All right, mansplaining. A man trying to explain a uniquely female experience. All right, it's like men trying to explain to women about their periods, or about what is a normal pregnancy like, or in this case, a man trying to explain to her about an abortion, something that he can never have or do. Okay. Now this light, this right here shines light on everything else. her resentfulness towards adulthood, her resentfulness to drinking, her resentfulness towards the man. Okay, this is resentfulness. Okay, resentfulness toward sex. This is probably the first person that she has slept with. She's having this affair with this older guy. She gets seduced into it. And the thing about it is that he uses her. Jig. He gives her the nickname Jig. Jig is a silly dance. All right? Jig is when like people who are drunk and they do a goofy dance to make you laugh. All right? Jesters. A jester does a jig. Or it is a dehumanizing dance. Slaves used to have to do jigs for white plantation owners. All right, I'll do a little jig for us. Entertain us. Be a jester. All right, it's not respectful. So for her, she's just a jig for him. She's just this thing that he uses to entertain himself. And in this case, we've realized that he has used her for sex. She's a young girl. She's fresh into adulthood, and he takes advantage of that. And what now she's sadly realized is that it's disappointing. All right, her first experience into an adult relationship and has led her to being pregnant. And now she finds herself at a train station having to decide whether she keeps the baby or has an abortion. And he is pushing that on her, okay? So she is resentful towards him for these things. He starts talking her into it. I know you wouldn't mind it, Jig. It's really not anything. It's just let the air in. Ugh. The girl did not say anything. I'll go with you. I'll stay with you all the time. They just let the air in, and then it's all perfectly natural. Natural. It's perfectly natural. All right. It's perfectly natural. Now look, this story. This is not a pro-life story, all right? Let's understand this. This is not about saying no one should have an abortion, all right? This is, at the purest form, 100% pro-choice. But it has to be, meaning has to be her choice, okay? He is not even giving her a choice. He is clearly gaslighting her with this. Gaslighting is a type of manipulation where you mess with people's minds to get them to do things for you, all right? And so he is pushing this abortion onto her, rather than really talking to her about what does she want. Does she want to have an abortion for her own personal reasons? Okay, whether she's young, she realizes that he's not going to be there, he's going to leave, he's going to go back to America, she's going to stay here with this child, all right? Or does she want to keep the child? That's pro-choice. This idea of it being her decision. It has to be her choice, all right? And so, but he's not letting her have that choice. He is pushing it on her, which is not right. It's never right to do that. And so then she's like, well, what will we do afterwards? Well, what's it going to be like after I have this abortion? And he's like, oh, babe, we'll be fine afterward, just like we were before. But were they really good before? And she says, well, what makes you think so? Well, that's the only thing that bothers us. It's the only thing that has made us unhappy. All right? He's assuming her feelings, that everything was good beforehand. He hasn't even asked. She might not even like the way that things were beforehand. The girl looked at the bead curtain, put her hand out, and took hold of 2 of the strings of beads. Okay. This beaded curtain. Hemingway could have chosen anything, but he chose beads. Beads. They're in Spain. Spain is a Catholic country. All right. Beads in the hand. Catholic country. All right. Rosary. Rosary. If you don't know what rosary are, these are prayer beads. She's reaching out to the beads as a form of a rosary, prayer beads. And all right, she is praying. She is trying to get strength from her faith. Okay? Rosary beads. And you think then we'll be right and be happy? That's what she says. He's like, I know we will. You don't have to be afraid. I've known lots of people that have done it. So have I, said the girl. And afterward, they were all so happy. This is sarcasm. This is sarcasm. I know it doesn't say it, but it is. He says, I know tons of people who've had abortions. And they're all right. And she says, well, so have I. He's known the men whose girlfriends had abortions. But she knows the actual girls, the women. And afterwards, they were all so happy. Sarcasm. And he picks up on the sarcasm. Well, look, I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to. He picks up on it. And so now he's trying to kind of backstep a little bit. I wouldn't have you do it if you didn't want to. But I know it's perfectly simple. So it's this idea of giving her a choice, but then reinforcing what he wants. All right? Choice, but reality. And you really want to, she says? I think it's the best thing to do, but I don't want you to do it if you don't really want to. He keeps doing this as if it's her choice. Her choice equals her choice equals his what's the word I'm looking for? He relinquishes guilt. All right? Her choice equals him relinquishing guilt. Her choice equals him being guilt-free, him being blameless. By him getting her to feel like it's her choice, this is the gaslight. Convincing her that it's her choice. It's her choice to get this abortion. And that means that she, in his eyes, she later can't blame him for her sadness. If she gets this abortion and then she feels sad and depressed and regrets it later, she can't be like, but you made me. You talked me into this. Because then he can say, he can be in denial. All right? This is denial. And he can say, no. I told you didn't have to do it. I told you didn't have to do it, okay? I don't want you to do it if you don't really want to. This is not about her feelings. This is not about her emotional health. This is about him. He is creating a defense for himself, all right? Gaslighting, manipulation, making her think it was her choice, all right? So that way he can be blameless. And so that way he can deny, all right, and putting all the guilt, all of that on her. He is just stacking it on her. This is gaslighting. This is manipulation, all right? He is making it seem like it's her choice, but it's not her choice. He's laying so much pressure and guilt on her, okay? Because essentially, either she ruins the relationship by so selfishly keeping the baby, or she ruins her emotional health by having by having the abortion, all right? He is setting her up to be destroyed either way, all right? He can either blame her for ruining the relationship because she so selfishly wants to keep the baby, or she is being set up to ruin her emotional health for feeling pressured into having this abortion. It's a lose-lose for her, okay? And for him, he can just walk away at any point. He can just walk away, all right? And he starts making himself a victim. She says, if I say things that are like white elephants, you'll like it. If I do this, you'll like it. And you say, I'll love it. I love it now. But I just can't think about it. You know how I get when I worry. When I worry, oh my God. Her pregnancy, and by the way, he impregnated her, okay? She didn't just wake up pregnant, all right? Now he has to deal with that. She's not a virgin, Virgin Mary, okay? Her pregnancy that he participated in by impregnating her, okay? Her pregnancy makes him, a victim, okay? Oh, he's so stressed out. Poor guy. He's trying to manipulate her into making her seem like, take that motherly place of like wanting to take care of her man and help him. And oh, poor guy. He's worried. I don't want him to be all stressed out with my pregnancy in which he performed. He impregnated me because he couldn't control himself. All right. No, dude. This is total gaslighting, manipulation on his part of controlling her, all right? He is dominating her. He has power over her. And let's just go ahead and make sure we understand this. He is an asshole, all right? Asshole, all right? Awful guy. And these guys are still alive today. They're still around. So guys, don't be an asshole. And girls, avoid the assholes, all right? They're manipulative and they'll gaslight you and they'll convince you that you're crazy. They'll convince you that it's all your fault and that you need to change when really they're just assholes. All right, so, all right, I don't care about, and then she gets down to this is what all these guys want. Ultimately, they want a woman who doesn't care about themselves. That once these guys get these women to this place where they don't love themselves, they don't care about themselves, they're broken, then the man has won and he has her. Okay? He has her. I don't care about me. This is what happened to Janine. Okay? She stopped caring about herself. She was the adulterous woman, and her adultery was on herself. Camus' biggest thing was that, you have to love yourself first. You have to come first in your life before you can help other people, all right, and be good to other people. And Janine, an adulterous woman, she gave up on herself. She stopped caring about herself. And that's why she had her whole existential crisis, all right? And once the woman stops caring about herself, then the man has her, all right? Okay. So this woman, the girl stood up. She walks to the end of the station. Across on the other side were fields of grain and trees along the banks of the Ebro. Far away beyond the river were mountains. The shadow of a cloud moved across the field of grain, and she saw the river through the trees. Okay, let's go back to our drawing. We have a hot, dry valley. But then we have trees. Look at those trees. Those are beautiful, aren't they? All right, and then behind, do I have a blue pen? Okay, I do. Then behind is a river. river is at the base of these mountains, okay? River, 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 okay. Now look, river, very important. We discussed this in the previous stories. River, river equals water. Water equals rebirth. Birth equals salvation. Okay, salvation. The water is so important in these stories. You seek water. You need water. It is salvation. It is rebirth. It's replenishing. Okay, and she sees that towards the mountains, towards that is the water. And she says, and we could have all this, and we could have everything, and every day we make it more impossible. He says, what did you say? I said we could have everything. So she is repeating his argument. All right, his argument that abortion can mean that we could have everything. And he says, what did you say? This is very important. I know I keep saying that. Everything's important. It is. Everything's important in a short story. This is evidence. He isn't listening to her. They're in a really important conversation, but he is not listening. He isn't present. He doesn't care. Doesn't give a... Okay. I said we could have everything. And he's like, oh yeah. Yeah. We can have everything. Yeah. Totally. That's it. All right. This is agreeing to agree in order to just get someone to do what you want them to do. Oh yeah, sure. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we can have everything. You're absolutely right. And this is the break. This is the break. All right? The break. She says, no, we can't. And he says, we can have the whole world. And she says, no, we can't. And he says, we can go everywhere. And she says, no, we can't. It isn't ours anymore. It is, it's ours. No, it isn't. And once they take it away, you never get it back. But they haven't taken it away. We'll wait and see. And he says, come on back in the shade, he said. You mustn't feel that way. So look, he is losing her here. He's losing control. And she is gaining the control. He tries to control her. Come to the shade. Control. She says, I don't feel. He says, you mustn't feel that way. I don't feel anyway. All right. So he's trying to control. He tries to tell her how to feel, how to interpret. He's trying again to gaslight her. And she says, I don't feel anyway. Because feelings sometimes can be, you can misunderstand feelings. She says, I don't feel anyway. I just know things. This is an incredibly powerful statement. It's the one thing that defines women way over than men, and that is intuition. Women have such strong intuition, and it drives men crazy. God or nature or whatever thing you think created humans, all right? Darwinism, evolution, all right? Nature, the original starter of all things, whatever it is, okay? Nature has given women intuition, the ability to know without communication. It's the reason why, if any of you are fans of X-Men, Jean Grey, a woman who is telepathic, okay? She can read people's minds. Intuition. Nature gave women this because we can look at it in terms of survival. Women had to be able to communicate with their babies, to understand their babies when their babies couldn't communicate to them. Women had to know, had to be able to figure out, to sense what is wrong with their infants and their 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds before they could talk, all right? Mothers know things about their kids that dads just don't. Are they like, okay, I guess, maybe, all right? And that's why also women know, they catch men in lies, and even though there's no proof, there's no physical proof, because the guy has been able to hide all the proof, but the women know because they have that intuition. And what's frustrating for them is that they may not have anything physical to prove it, because like I said, the men are snakes and they've hidden all the clues, they've hidden all the evidence. But the women know, all right? They have intuition. I just know things. Very powerful, very powerful. I just know things. And those things that she knows is that he's a lying asshole. And then he starts to backtrack. I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do. And she cuts him off. Nor that isn't good for me. Right? Good for me. Good for me. She is, this is once again her resentment. She has a lot. She's very resentful. Her resentfulness. Okay? She's saying, why don't you care about what is good for me? Not just you. The selfish prick. That's what she's saying. Okay? And he starts to say, all right, but you get to realize. And she says, whoa, I realize. Yo, don't tell me what to realize. I realize. I know. I don't need you to tell me how to feel, what to think, what to realize. Because I do all those things myself. They sat down at the table, and the girl looked across at the hills on the dry side of the valley, and the man looked at her at the table. And he says, you got to realize that I don't want you to do it if you don't want to. I'm perfectly willing to go through with it if it means anything to you. And she says, does it mean anything to you? I mean, does it? He says, of course it does. And then he goes back to saying, but it's real simple. And she says, yes, it's perfectly simple. Once again, sarcasm. Okay, she is calling out his mansplaining. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's so simple to have an abortion, to put something up my uterus to kill this thing that's inside of me. Oh yes, you know that for sure, don't you? And he starts to kind of argue his way back in. It's all right for you to say that. But I know it. And she's so tired. She's so tired of all of his bullshit, all right? Would you do something for me now, she says. Just do something for me now. And he says, oh, I'll do anything. Would you please stop talking? She is tired of his bullshit. He did not say anything but looked at the bags against the wall of the station. There were labels on them from all the hotels where they had spent nights. Because they're lovers. They're lovers. The labels of the hotels where they spent nights. Okay? And now he's seeing that he has lost control of her. He's starting to regret. Because what he sees, look though, these labels, what he sees is sex. He doesn't see her. Lovers have sex. All right? That's the term. If you have a boyfriend, he's your boyfriend. If you have a girlfriend, it's your girlfriend. If you have a lover, that's just someone you were sleeping with. And by sleeping, I mean sex that you're having sex with, all right? And the labels remind him of this sex. And then he starts to regret. Not because he loves her or is sad about her distancing herself from him. He's sad about the easy access he has to her body, all right? He's regretting losing her body, not her heart, okay, or who she is. Understand that. Understand that. Guys will act sad at the end of a relationship because they're losing their easy access to the woman's body, not losing access to her mind or who she is or her interests or all these kind of things, okay? But I don't want you to. I said, I don't care about it. I'll scream. He is not listening, and she's going to do whatever it takes for her to get him to do what she wants. I will scream. The woman came out through the curtain to 2 glasses of beer and put them down on the damp felt pads. The train comes in 5 minutes. What did she say? Right? So now the train's coming in 5 minutes. It's reversed. It's reversed. She isn't listening. Is it listening? Because she is done. She's done. Okay? And then he becomes a servant. I better take the bags over the other side of the station, the man said. She smiled at him. All right. Then come back and we'll finish the beer. Roles have switched. She is in control now. And he isn't. All right? He picked up the 2 heavy bags and carried them around the station on the tracks. He looked up the tracks but could not see the train. Coming back, he walked through the bar room where people waiting for the train were drinking. He drank his drink at the bar, looked at the people. They were all waiting reasonably for the train. He went through the bead curtain. She was sitting at the table and smiled at him. Do you feel better? He asked. She says, oh, I feel fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I feel fine. Okay? She's resolved. She's resolved. She has made her choice. Okay? She's made her choice. Now look, the symbolism of the mountains, the hills. This is a woman in labor. We have her head, her breasts, and her knees. Okay? She's in labor. Oh, no, oops. Head, breast. This is her stomach. I forgot that. Stomach. Knees. Okay. All right. Yeah, there it is. This is a woman in labor. All right. These hills that the woman, that Jig keeps looking at symbolizes her pregnancy. Okay. And right in front of the hills is the river. Okay, the river, the life, the rebirth. So people say that they don't know what how the story ends or what's the conclusion of it, but to me it makes perfect sense though. She's choosing to keep the baby. All right, she's gonna take the train tracks that lead her to the hills. All right, the hills, which have the life, the trees are life, the water is rebirth, salvation, amniotic fluid, whatever you want to think of it. All right, as. And the hills is her giving birth, okay? And that's because ultimately, sorry, it's her choice. It's her choice, okay? All right, let's see here. Let's see if I've gone over all these questions, answers. Where does the story take place? Gone over that one. What procedure are they discussing? Went over that one. What is the line? I know things. I know that I went over that one. Who does she become at the end of the story? Or what does she become at the end of the story? Okay. Went over that one. She's in control. He isn't. Okay. He had taken her power and she regains it. She's become empowered. Where does the story take place? Went over that. What are the two people? How are the two people involved? Went over that. What do they do while they wait? Went over that. Often the girl's tone towards the man is. Went over that one. What landscape is now in the view of the couple? Went over that. What do the hills symbolize? Went over that. What does the drink represent? Went over that. All right, great. So that's the story. Gone over all of it. It's a great story. It's a great look at how men are awful towards, not all men, but some men are awful towards the women in their lives. And so, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any questions. All right. Can't believe this video was 52 minutes long. Sorry about that. I hope this uploads. That's gonna suck if I can't upload to YouTube. All right, I'll see y'all later. Email me any questions. Bye.